So with the overhead squat, compared to the back squat or front squat, we've moved the barbell further away from the body. So that's going to increase a lot of demands on this movement. And in order for us to be optimally set up to transfer force from our legs through our spine, through our shoulder, and into the barbell, we want to keep as many joints as possible stacked on top of each other. So what we want to see ideally is a fairly upright torso position here. And in order to keep an upright torso, Pamela's going to have to really drive her knees forward as she descends into the overhead squat. When she's down into that bottom position and she has those knees pushed forward, we've got a really strong, firm base to lift off of from there. If she had stiff ankles, or maybe wasn't using the ankle mobility she had and does more of a hip hingy type squat, that's going to push her torso forward. And as her torso gets pushed forward, that's going to force her shoulders to open up significantly more and go into this really extreme position where the amount of strength that we can display in that position is significantly decreased, and we're putting a lot more stress and unnecessary stress on the shoulders. So the first thing we really want to see in the overhead squat, upright torso, knees driven forward. The second thing we want to see, if you'll turn to the back wall, is we really want to emphasize having a strong, active shoulder position. So Pamela's not shrugging up into the bar and bringing her delts to her ears, but she's definitely not letting that bar push her shoulders down to where she's just hanging out on her ligaments. She's thinking of actively pressing up into the bar and putting vertical force into it. That's going to put her in a really strong position where she's really recruiting all of those muscles of her upper back to stabilize as much load as possible. There are a lot of mobility demands for the overhead squat to get into that positioning that we just discussed. The two most important areas are going to be ankle mobility and shoulder mobility. We're going to go through two tests right now to really quickly screen out if this is an area you need to address. So the first test for ankle mobility, we're going to get position 1 hand width away from the wall. Big toes right there, 1 hand width away. And then we're going to see, can we keep the heel flat and drive the knee forward towards the wall? As we do that test, we're going to make sure that everything is going just straight forward and backwards. We're not twisting in our hips any. We're focused on moving one direction. If you fall short of that marker, then working on your ankle mobility will help improve your positioning for the overhead squat. The second test we're going to do is going to look at shoulder mobility. So we're going to sit with legs crossed and the entire spine flat against a wall. We're going to grab the PVC pipe just slightly wider than shoulder width. Elbow straight, we're then going to fully open up the shoulder and see, can we get the shoulder flush with the wall with the back not coming off the wall? If you fall short of that marker, then working on shoulder mobility or thoracic spine, upper back mobility will really help out your positioning for the